Hello everyone, this is Emin here from Secure, and in today's vlog, today's recording, today's session, we have a special guest, and she's actually one of our team members right now. We are working with Chanel, and she is doing a hell of a good job so far. And in this session, what we wanted to do is to take a quick dive into what is possible in this career. Like everybody's interested in cybersecurity careers, but obviously there are like different questions, like do I have the right background? What if I don't have the IT skills? What if I'm coming from a total different background? And I'm not sure if there are opportunities for me as well. So that's why we just wanted to talk about this topic and talk about what is possible in the cybersecurity domain. So once again, welcome Chanel to this recording.
Thank you.
So I'm thinking maybe we can get started with your background.
Okay.
Like, who are you? What is your background? And then we can take it from there.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Chanel. I'm a business owner. I'm a dancer, singer, actress. I come from a sales background.
Okay.
Sales and marketing. I've done a little bit of recruitment before, and a little bit of business development, a little bit of everything. But yeah, I'm a sales professional, so I've done a lot of work with sales.
I mean, it looks like you have a lot of different, skills.
Yeah.
Different, identities. Like you are a business owner, you're a dancer. It's like amazing because it looks like it is possible to do something different. But at the same time, I'm kind of wondering what triggered, which event triggered you to do something different? And, how did your interest maybe, start in cybersecurity?
Well, from the COVID-19 situation, a lot of my bookings got cancelled, and I realised that business isn't going to be the same for me. So I'm also developing and changing. And in my business, I do a lot of cultural activism, and I talk about women empowerment for Black women. And I looked at cybersecurity because I've been going through a lot of cyberbullying, and I'm an advocate against all of that kind of stuff. And I wanted to find out what can you do? What happens when you're a victim to something like that? What do you do? The police can't really do anything. So I was just like, okay, is there a cyber police? Like, how does this work? How does this work? So basically, I started doing a little bit of research into cybersecurity and understanding all of those types of policies and stuff. And I realized, you know what? I think I can actually do this. So I started looking into courses because obviously I don't have a technical background. So I was like, okay, let me investigate what's out there. And a lot of the courses were a bit long. So I was just like, I want something that I can dive straight into it, get my hands into it, and just get into the deep end. I like doing that. I like throwing myself into challenges. So that's when I came across Felt Secure. Yeah.
So it looks like, that is the background, that is the motivation. But when we look at your specific needs, it looks like you wanted to do something and get results as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, getting a different skill so that you can do something produce something, create value, and change the career trajectory.
Exactly.
This is
Well, it's a combination. I feel like we're in a time where we're evolving. I think people have to evolve. You can't rely on back to the normal, whatever that was. It's now changed with COVID-19. We have to adapt. You have to be adaptable, and you have to understand that things are changing. And cybersecurity is the area that is going to be huge. It's getting bigger and bigger, and there's a demand for it, and there isn't enough manpower.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, I know I'm not technical. I don't know nothing about it. But I'm going to learn, and I'm going to put myself into it and actually develop a new skill and use my transferable skills to aid me with learning cybersecurity, the principles, all of those types of things. So yeah, I'm studying now, and yeah, it's difficult. It's a different language, vocabulary, but it's very transferable in seeing the modern era of social media, the internet, and how everything's becoming cashless and everything's online. So it really makes sense when you start applying it to life. So that's how I learn, yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, when we look at the current domain of the cybersecurity, there's a very big misunderstanding about this. It's like, hey, if you want to become a cybersecurity professional, you just need to learn this. You just need to become an ethical hacker, expert programmer, software developer. You just need to become the guru in encryption and all of that. Obviously, that doesn't mean that you don't have to learn That obviously you just need to maybe get an understanding of those subjects. But at the end of the day, there are more than like 200 different job titles available. And at the end of the day, it's like the question comes down to whether you can create value for a business or not. So it's like, okay, there are so many different options, like cybersecurity analyst, ethical hacker, but according to statistics, 1 out of 5 cybersecurity professionals joined this domain from a non-IT background. Marketing, sales, legal, you name it, military background. So I think the real question here is, how can I create value? How can I support businesses? And I think that's what you're doing exactly.
Yeah, well, getting into business development definitely helps me to understand being the middleman between the businesses that are not quite savvy with the cybersecurity laws and things that they're enforcing now. It's going to get more and more strict. And, the technical side, being, a lot of technical people, and they're not very, like extroverted. They're not going to approach a business, how can I help your problem? Like, how you did it? They're not going to do that. They're going to sit there on Indeed or Read looking for jobs. Like, I'm the middle person that can be like, I know that person, he can do this or she can do this and help you with that. And that's basically my job.
Well, what do you think about kind of your background and your, as you mentioned, transferable skills and abilities? Because obviously, I mean, you have done some great work so far, and you are obviously really good with kind of communication, understanding problems, building rapport with people. So how do you see that relation between, like, okay, you have that, and as a business developer, you need to kind of maybe create a pipeline, support individuals. So what do you think about that kind of relationship?
Yeah, the correlation, I think, is communication. Communication is very vital and key. I feel as though the communication skills within this domain isn't that diverse or strong, I would say, in terms of like everyone's quite separated in their arenas and it's not really like bunched together, if that makes sense. And I feel as though now things are evolving, we need to have that communication. We need to be able to communicate and build rapport and build good relationships so that we're always in communication about what's happening. And that's the problem. A lot of the time, we don't receive the information in the time that we need it. And that's where we have those really unfortunate events where, someone's hacked into a system or something's happened and they've lost lots of money. I feel as though if the communication is key and we learn a bit more about strategies and being more safe and efficient and aware, I think the awareness is key. People are not very conscious about the degree on a level of security. Like, how many people use their email address for their password, for example, or their email name or their sister's name or something. That's so easy to hack into. It's just simple things like that. If we communicate with each other, it's not going to be such a cybersecurity,
And at the end of the day, it's like there are lots of small businesses out there, and they absolutely have no idea about this, including even large organizations. Obviously, maybe they have some sort of investment, but when we look at their employees, their kind of contractors, maybe the support that they need. Obviously, that depends on the kind of the function, the department of the company. But at the end of the day, it is not just technical. It is not just purely, okay, I just need to become an expert on this or that. But at the end of the day, it's business. And there are many different levels of this business. So I think the question comes down to, how can I create a value? How can I identify my niche and then learn whatever necessary? Well, it might take 3 months. It might take 4 months. But at the end of the day, you can get there. It's not like going back to university, learning everything about this, getting a master's degree. And I think the real question comes down to, okay, I already have this skills, abilities. Like in your case, it's like, okay, I'm really good with people. I talk to them, I understand them, I communicate with them. Okay, how can I use that? Get some more new skills if necessary. Obviously, you just need to speak the language, kind of follow the latest trends. It's obvious. But it doesn't have to be like, okay, I just need to learn everything about this. I think the question is like, okay, I have all these skills. Now, how can I produce something?
I think, obviously, doing that, I'm doing the course as well. And that I'm learning as I go and I'm getting the mentoring and the support to understand the correlation with both. How to articulate myself using the vocabulary, but getting straight to the point. like not going around the bush and being all fabulous with the language, like a lot of tech people like to do and throw people off. Getting straight to the point and having a good communication and a good understanding. And I think the question for businesses is, what is their priority? How far is their risk not prioritizing the level of security in their businesses? I believe that at least most of the employees should have the basic training of cybersecurity. I think that it's an investment, but the return on investment, if you have that level of consciousness and awareness, you'll be saving your business all of those things from phishing emails, from all of those kinds of things. Phishing emails are the highest thing still today. People still open them. People still follow through. You will follow that text message. You will hand out your bank details. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a bit silly, but people are doing it. So I feel as though if people are not aware, or they're not conscious, or they're not investing in their employees to be conscious of these things, then we'll eradicate that. It'll be like, zero. What's that thing someone told me was zero tolerance, as in like, if I don't know you, then I'm not opening this or that. If it's not a part of the company, then we don't. But if you don't have the understanding, a lot of companies don't understand that investment and don't understand that it's their obligation and they're liable. If something like that happens, it's their fault. You can't victimize yourself.
It's like human element, isn't
it? Exactly. You're liable. You have to take that accountability from now. So I'm like, why not prevent it? Invest in your company. Invest in yourself. Learn what it is, and then stay up to date, because everything's forever changing. So a lot of people are comfortable because they did a course like 5 years ago. So they think, I know everything, but no, technology is changing. We're bringing an AI, advanced systems are coming in.
And I think that's the comfort zone, and I think you did a great job, like pivoting your skills, pivoting your value, because unfortunately I see people like, okay, there was this pandemic, there's this COVID-19, they're just kind of waiting. Like, okay, let me just wait until everything goes back to normal. But that, even if that happens, that will be a new normal. And just like all the video conferences, all the different technologies like Zoom or different platforms that we used, meeting online. And obviously, when we look at the equation from a kind of career perspective, if you don't change or upgrade yourself, your skill set, just like you mentioned, it is really hard to stay like, okay, companies need me more than ever, and there are opportunities out there. If you don't change, then obviously how can you get new and better opportunities? It doesn't make sense. Like look at, for example, the airlines, or look at all the other companies who were really badly affected with this. But at the same time, look at all the digital companies, all the digital tech organizations. As I mentioned, like Zoom is an obvious example. But there are many others as well. It's just about adapting to the new environment. And I think that's one of the major unfortunate mistakes that people make. It's like they just kind of wait until something goes back to normal, but it never happens.
And you can't really trust that, because the information that we're getting is very useless in terms of what's going to happen next. They don't even know what's happening next. Exactly. So why wait for that? You can take your own initiative and be like, okay, it seems like we're going to be more and more digital. Everything's going to be online. Because they're going to try and avoid any contact to avoid the spread until they find the cure, if they find the cure. So they don't know when, or they haven't really got a pipeline of a deadline. This is when it's going to happen. They're just testing. And in the meantime, you can either be left behind, waiting, or you can get with the program and do something about your life and take control of it.
Exactly. It's like, okay, this is the new situation. This is the new normal. How can I deal with this? Okay, what kind of skills do I need right now? How can I use my abilities? Like, for example, communication is a very good thing. Many times, this is another misunderstanding about cybersecurity careers. Always the hard skills are important, but it's always people, process, technology. As long as, for example, in your case, you have a lot of very good people skills. Process related, like for example, if you're coming from a business background, like a governance background, you know how businesses and all those workflows and everything, like maybe a cybersecurity, information security analyst, IT analyst, coming from those backgrounds. Or the technology as well. If you already know how to, for example, write a computer program, if you already are a system admin or a network engineer, and if you feel like, hey, you know what, I think I will have better opportunities in cybersecurity because of this growing demand, and that's right. I mean, there's a lot of demand. It's growing more than ever. Then maybe I can get additional skills, and then I can just transform my career.
Exactly. And I've had lots of clients doing this, but coming from a network engineering background that want to elevate because they feel stuck.
Exactly.
Like, okay, I've mastered this, or even if they're in IT, okay, they've done all that, or your IT manager, admin, and manager, you manage your team, you're excellent. What's the next step? And even if you could go back to your companies, like, okay, I invest in myself, I've got a cybersecurity certification now, I understand this, now we can implement these things in place. That's a value, that's an asset. A company would value that over someone that's just going to hang around on furlough and just wait for the next day to come and hope for the best. Like someone that's taking initiative, you're going to save yourself your job, you're going to create your own job. And that was what I did, creating my own job, creating my own opportunity.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened with you. And it's like, especially after this pandemic, and still we have this problem, and unfortunately it's like, winter is coming, as this famous phrase from Game of Thrones, winter is coming, and who knows what will happen next. Maybe we will have a second wave, maybe we will have a third wave. But when we look at businesses, IT companies, digital companies, it's amazing. I mean, we were looking at the news and everybody's kind of screaming like, 10% of the entire workforce unfortunately lost their jobs and everything. And I was just kind of checking the numbers. And it was like shocking. In April, according to LinkedIn Jobs, I think there were like 250,000 opportunities in April. But in May or June, I think it was June, 50,000 more, 300,000 job opportunities in cybersecurity roles.
Wow.
Which means like it's growing more than ever. So if you just look at kind of news and kind of afraid about what's happening in the world, then obviously you might feel different. But when you look at the data, when you look at, okay, more companies, let's say regular, typical brick and mortar stores, for example, obviously when they make this change to IT and start selling stuff online, they need some support. And there are like thousands and millions of different businesses at each level. Obviously, they need more help. It starts with an online business, and then what happens? They need to secure that system. They need to make sure that there are like enough and proper processes around this. All the risk management, all the security elements, and then there comes, okay, obviously, how can I make sure that hackers cannot get into my systems? How can I make sure it's tested, etc. And this situation obviously helps cybersecurity profession. So that's why it's growing more than ever. That's the best part.
And this is the time where hackers are going to be taking well advantage of people staying at home with their unsecure devices, unsecure financial things.
That's not the point.
And you're liable. The government isn't going to chip in. The government's going to tell you, the police, or nobody's going to come to you and be like, Patty, I'm sorry this has happened. That there's only so much they can do to protect you, legally speaking. You know what I mean? After that, you're on your own. A lot of people have lost out because they haven't protected themselves properly. Like looking at the laws and the policies that you're supposed to do as your own business owner. And I didn't know that until I started studying. I didn't know that I have a responsibility to do that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's like many people don't know. And that's why when that happens, then obviously it's like many times it's too late. And there's this famous phrase in cybersecurity, it's not about if, it's about when. It will eventually happen if you are not prepared. So that's why businesses, have this obligation, in a way, and legal responsibility. But at the same time, when we flip the coin, it's like, okay, how can I help them? Can I help them in any kind of, maybe with my technical skills? Or maybe, for example, Cyber Essentials is a good thing here in the UK. And there are so many different top 10, top 20 controls. As soon as you are aware of those controls, even if you are not the next cybersecurity guru or expert, you can start providing value. Obviously, it's a process. It might take some time, depending on your background, depending on what you know. But as long as you focus on, okay, let me just focus on creating a positive outcome instead of wasting my months and years on building these super ninja cybersecurity skills, I think the real magic, the real benefit of the situation is this. when you change it, when you change the perception, how can I be productive? How can I be useful, valuable for companies? I think that's the one where you can
I agree, and I think that you have to be a bit wise in how you're going to do it. I mean, do you need to do 10 certifications before you start working?
Exactly.
A lot of people I've spoken to coming from IT, I need to do this, I need to do security plus,
Exactly.
I need to do this, I need to do this, and this, and this, and I'm like, okay, so when are you going to start working? Because you're putting all of that investment. Great, you've got the certifications, but the companies want to know, can you execute? Can you actually do
What's the
work?
result?
Yeah,
What's the result?
it's nice having papers, but if this is happening, do you know what you're doing? Are you confident? Because if I'm going to pay this money, I need to see the risk is so high that the responsibility, you don't want to have a bad reputation because you were ignorant and you're just like, okay, all I need to do is go to this school, that school, and that school, and you don't have the confidence to actually just throw yourself out there and actually start implementing your skills.
Exactly, and it's like the difference of information versus transformation, and that's one of the major mistakes that we see in the marketplace right now. Let me just get the certification. Let me just learn this. Let me just play with this a little bit, and then magically I will become a cybersecurity professional. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Obviously, it's a process of, for example, as you come across with so many different people are kind of confused. They don't know then what's the next step, and unfortunately, it's a subjective thing because everybody's different. So that's why it's really important to get some support, talk to an expert, and understand. Like just looking into the mirror. Okay, this is who I am. This is what I need to do. Let me just do it. Let me just get the results. Rather than collecting all the certifications out there, wasting all the time. And unfortunately, it's like, hey, let me just get this video training course for just $10 or £1, and then magically I'll just have a new identity.
It's crazy to me when I hear people doing that. Or, okay, I purchased a course and it's really cheap or whatever, or I've got books, or I've taken little snapshots and PDFs from people for one thing, say Security Plus, for example. The reality is, you're not going to do the exam because you haven't got that motivation to do it. Otherwise, you would have booked into a proper course and you would have made yourself, accountable for all of the weeks of training and booked a date for your exam. Everybody that I've spoken to, oh yeah, but it's I said, so when is your exam? Oh well, that's exactly. You're not serious. You have to be serious. If you're serious about this career, you have to have deadlines. By this time, I need to have this. By this time, and a lot of people don't look at the steps. They want to get to here without thinking, okay, this is the journey. First, I was like, do you have a background? No. So how are you asking about jobs and salary? You don't have anything to offer yet. So you need to create your own value first. Get the certification, the training. Make sure that you can, you're able to articulate what it is you're going to do, what role it is you want to get into. A lot of people are like, I want to be a hacker. I'm like, do you even know what the roles require when you're an ethical hacker? Like, it's probably not what you fantasize about watching like films and stuff. It's probably not that at all.
Exactly.
Being realistic. Be realistic with your goals and, okay, where can I start? A lot of people that do well, they start in a realistic kind of salary range. Okay, I want to aim maybe the 30, 40, kind of just the entry level of cybersecurity, and then I want to gradually get my experience and work my way up. A lot of people I've spoken to have no experience. Like, yeah, I want to be on 100K. I'm like, well, what can you bring to the table?
Exactly. It's a process, and that number, whatever the end result or whatever the goal might be, is like the direct reflection of what kind of value you can bring to the table. If someone is like, maybe they have like 20 years of experience, lots of relevant abilities, if with a proper training, if he gets a proper training with an accredited certification, and then he knows specifically what kind of jobs out there are available for him, and how to get those jobs, how to approach the employers, and how to kind of prove himself. Okay, I will be valuable, and when you hire me, the company will benefit from this kind of agreement and probably save $1 million or pounds, and even potentially this is what I can do. So that's why in return, potentially it might be possible, but that all depends on what is your background. If you're coming from a totally different background, if you have no skills, whatnot, obviously it's really hard, and it is a process. Maybe you'll get there. And I mean, we had, for example, I remember one of our previous students, he was like, working as a hotel receptionist when he first started. Obviously, it's a process. But now I just heard that he's now focused on cloud security. This is his second job in the cybersecurity domain after he completed the program. And it's like at 35K. And I'm sure next year he'll be at 45 or 50. But it is a process. Unfortunately, many times people don't appreciate this fact. It just takes time.
And you've got to be realistic. A lot of advertisement is telling you, start a career in cybersecurity, 70 to 100K. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
You have to bring value, and if the risk is too high for companies to invest in someone 70 to 100K per year, and the risk of losing millions and millions because of negligence, because people weren't fully equipped, fully trained, fully experienced. And you've got to give yourself, if you're really passionate about it, it wouldn't even matter about the length of time it takes to get there, because you're on a journey, on a path, and you have a real passion. But a lot of people, I think it's just the fantasy, the romance of, I'm going to make the money, I have this name, but it's actually very hard, very difficult to understand and get your head around the different programs, the different systems that are in place, and the new laws that have been enforced as well.
Exactly.
So you've got to be on top of everything.
Exactly. And I think it's like, there are a couple of steps here. For some people, let's assume they also have the certification, or they collected like 5 different certifications. The problem is, if you don't know how to apply the skills with those certifications, how you validate those skills, it just doesn't make sense. So what I see is like, okay, obviously getting a proper training with a certification ideally is like the first step. And then you also need to have an understanding with hands-on skills, like real life practical skills, to really understand, okay, now I understand all the meaning. It's not like a tick box exercise. And that's done. Then finally, how can I apply these skills? How can I identify the companies that I want? How can I approach them? How can I do this? And here's the challenge. It requires time and energy, and most importantly, support and accountability. Because this is hard. Otherwise, many people would have done it already. It requires certain level of support, mentoring, guidance, if you are serious about this. If you're not serious about it, if you're just playing games and having fun, that's fine, but that's a different story. If you're interested in it as a career option, then you need help, then you need support, then you need the proper training from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think reading a book, sitting there reading a book isn't enough, you know what I mean, or just trying to understand it. You need to have like the on-hands experience. And you need to be able to articulate yourself in a way that you know what you're talking about, not reciting what you read in someone's book or something, which a lot of people are doing. It's sad, but I feel as though if you can invest 60 to 100K in your university degree, then you should be able to invest in yourself a little small money to enhance your career. And you invest in someone to help you. Everyone needs a mentor. I really believe in that. Everybody needs a mentor. You need someone to help you take accountability for yourself, and so you can see yourself and your growth and actually analyze the growth. When you're doing it by yourself, we oftentimes can get distracted or make excuses. That's the biggest thing that we do. Oh, it was this, it was that, oh, that's why I couldn't do it, or something like that, or someone said this, or someone like that. It's always some type of excuse.
Blind leading the blind. Sometimes it's like, hey, I heard this and I heard that, I just Googled this. Google is not a good option for this. If you're just looking for the nearest coffee shop, you can find it. But if you're trying to find an answer how to get started in cybersecurity, you won't be able to find solid advice. Even if you do, how are you going to make sure that you follow through? How are you going to make sure that you get the real life, face-to-face or online nowadays, support from mentors, from industry experts, so that they can make sure that you don't make a mistake along the way?
Or waste a lot of time and money.
Wasting time, wasting money, and it really saddens me, because if they get started in cybersecurity, maybe they will start at £2,000 or £3,000 anyway per month. If they waste 1 year, £25,000-30,000 or even more, so it just doesn't make sense from time-wise and energy-wise. It's just about, hey, if you're serious about this, just do something about yourself, invest something in your career, towards your career, and then get the results. That's like the equation. So, I mean, I think, Chanel, we can talk about this like maybe hours and hours, but I mean, to wrap up, what do you think about the next step? So if someone is kind of listening to us right now and is like, okay, I want to become this cybersecurity professional, and I want to become, I want to provide value, take action, do something about this. So what do you think? What is the kind of next logical step for them?
I think they've got to tap into this video. If they have, then maybe look at your webinar because they explain the course that you offer, what we're offering here. Okay. And yeah, book a call and speak to us. Exactly. I think that's the next step. Speak to us, speak to someone that's in the field. Exactly. And, a lot of us will tell you the truth. Exactly. It might not be what you want to hear, but it's the truth. Are you suitable for this? Realistically, can you do it? Yes or no? It's not for everybody. Like, we have to always also say that it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But if it is for you, then you need that push. You need that encouragement. You need someone to be like, yep, get in there, do it, start. And I think that's what it is, taking action. Exactly. Just taking the action. Taking the action.
Many times that's one of the biggest problems in the marketplace. Hey, this training, just whoever you are, just get this training. In reality, there are so many different questions. Is this training career upgrade option is suitable for me? Do I have enough time? If someone is like busy, can have maybe like 5 hours, 3 hours a week at most, obviously it's not going to work. It requires investment, time and energy. It requires dedication, commitment. It doesn't have to be full-time. People can do this online, remotely, but at the end of the day, they just need to have something put in place to get the results.
Be committed. Exactly. Be committed to what you're doing. A lot of the time, people start and stop courses. That's why a lot of courses are not that expensive, because it's not really a lot in their eyes. Like, yeah, you sign up, I've taken your money, good. If you complete it, oh well. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? If I'm just saying to anyone that wants to start this, make sure you work with someone or a company that takes accountability for you passing your certifications.
Exactly. And beyond that as well. Yeah, it's like certification, like post-step, and then what happens next? They need support at the level.
And then the career aspect. If you want, either or both, a company that actually cares about where you go and what company you work for. You don't want to work for a rubbish company or a company that's just not going to get you anywhere. You want to work for the right company that has the same values you have, the same kind of ethics and the same kind of vision, and we need to align those things together. And that's what we do. And I will definitely tell you if you can do it or not.
Many thanks, Shanna. I think that's one of the strengths is, and many thanks for all the background, all your interest, and it's really amazing about kind of personally seeing your transformation. To be honest, I mean, I'm real proud of the process that you have completed, of your kind of dedication, commitment, because at the end of the day, that's your talent. You want to help people with your people skills. So long story short, if someone is like interested in cybersecurity, there are so many different options that they can just get in this field. It all comes down to whether you are committed enough to this. If you are committed, then obviously the next steps are clear. So for example, right after this video, you can check out the webinar, which we'll include in this video. You can take a look, and if you are kind of serious about this, if you want to do something about your career, if you are looking for a change, maybe a career upgrade, salary upgrade, looking for a career pivot, I think this is the next step. Just attend the webinar, you just watch it through until the end, and then just book a call to see if we can help you. That's the bottom line.
Make sure you watch the webinar. So I will not be repeating everything. No, but just joking. But really and truly, you need to take time before you book the call. Make sure you take the time to really look at our syllabus, what we offer, what the course is, and have your questions. Write your questions down, and then when we get to the call, we'll be able to address it. You'll just go we'll get straight to the point. We'll get you on the course, and you'll be one step closer to your career. It's that simple.
Yes or no, at the end of the day, it's what we do. We just want to help people. If it's not possible, or if it's like something that we cannot help with, obviously we will tell. We just want the best results available so that everybody gets the outcome throughout the program. So until next time, Chanel. I mean, many thanks for your time today. Thanks for your time today. I just wanted to have this a little bit kind of different recording with you, but I think you are kind of a role model, kind of an inspiration to many people, especially people coming from different backgrounds, interested in cybersecurity, don't know what to do. I think this is what they need to do. Attend the webinar, take a look at it, learn what you need to do, and then take action. Book a call with us. Let's talk about it, and then take it from there.
Exactly. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Amin.
No problem, Chanel. Many thanks, and we will see you in the next video.
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye. So if you're interested in cybersecurity careers but don't know how to get started, here's how we can help you. First, you can go and visit Google Play Store, App Store, and then search for FeltSecure. Find the application, download, you'll find lots of free resources to get started, lots of different video courses, free video courses, lots of different materials to get you started. That's the first option. Number two, you can go to Facebook and search for breaking into a cybersecurity career you will love. You'll find our secret group, private group, and then you can join the weekly live sessions and all the information shared, all the communication that we have. And finally, if you have a burning desire, burning problem to get started in cybersecurity, if you're looking for the accredited training, recognized certifications, hands-on skills, so that you can get started in a cybersecurity career that you love in 3 to 6 months, which gives you everything that you need, from mentoring to support, to all the training, all the certifications that you need. Here's how you can get started. Just visit feltsecure.com/training. You will find a free webinar to attend. Just watch the webinar, just attend the webinar, and then if you think that's a good match, just book a call with one of our career advisors, one of our career mentors, and then let's see if we can help you towards your beautiful cybersecurity career.